Hey everybody, it's Coach McGoldrick here again. I'm inside the McGoldrick House kitchen, and we're cooking tonight. Tonight what we have on the menu is a number of different things. Our main course here is just going to be some hamburgers. That I'm making up actually on the stovetop because it is pretty dark out, and I don't not really ready to fire up the grill at this point at this time of night. So I have the meat. I formed it into a couple of patties. I salted it because I always salt the meat before I cook it. I put some pepper on it tonight, and I'm actually going to cook it on this pretty old cast iron skillet pan that actually came from one of my grandmothers. It's significantly older than I am. It might be about 60 years old. I'm not sure when she got it, if it was when she got married or what it was, so I'm not really sure. But the other thing that we're going to whip up here today is some sweet potatoes. And I don't eat a lot of sweet potatoes. They're a little higher in the starches, and I don't eat a lot of starch these days. But it's a great way to get a lot of different just a lot of different spices in. And when you do have a little bit of a run where you go anaerobic, like today where we did our progression run today, so you're getting a little anaerobic in the tail end of that run. It is good to replace a little bit of that glycogen that you do lose. So I do have a little bit of, I will have a little bit because it will give me some glucose to recover what I burned in the last probably 10 minutes or so of the run. So I'm going to take you through a couple different things here, and I'll show you some of the other vegetables that we're going to whip up as well, and kind of how we prepare them here at our house. So without further ado, let's go to the vegetables. Here's the vegetables, at least the first dish. So what I have, Mrs. McGoldrick went to the farmer's market today and got some, I believe they're organic sweet potatoes that were grown locally, which is really cool. You guys know that I used to work on a farm, so I'm really big into locally grown and supporting the local farmers. And what I like about sweet potatoes is they're pretty easy to cook when you do them this way. So I chopped them up, you can see, sort of into a french fry sort of way. We have this thing called the misto, and I just sort of give it a little spray of olive oil. I prefer olive oil. You can use avocado oil. We also have coconut oil. If I was going to do these in a stovetop, I'd use coconut oil. And I'm just going to lightly season them. I'm going to put more cinnamon on them just because I like the flavor. Cinnamon is good for your heart. So we're just going to kind of sprinkle it on here and there. Another really, a really tasty way to do these would be to put brown sugar, but I'm trying to minimize my glycemic load here. I'm going to put a little pepper as well. And I'm going to use some turmeric because it's just a good thing to have for you. It does a lot of benefits, which I can get into with you guys in person at some point, or maybe a later video about some of the different spices. But it doesn't have, to me, it doesn't have a huge flavor. So I like to try to incorporate it when I can. And then I'm going to just sprinkle a little salt. The Himalayan pink salts help you sleep at night, and they'll do a lot of really good things for you. So I'm just going to roast these up for a while at 425. So these will go in first. And now we'll go to the next vegetables. Okay, so here you see I've got my chopped up zucchini, came from the same farmer's market. And what I did for this one, because I'm going to do it on the stovetop just to show you, had some coconut oil here. Now when I bought this, I bought the wrong one. I shouldn't have. I would prefer to have bought unrefined. But the nice thing here is you'll see it's rated for heat. So medium heat, 350 to 400. I'm going to cook probably less than that, but that's good because you don't want your oils to burn that much because they become a little bit more unstable. So I'm going to try and cook them kind of low and slow. So basically I'm just going to let the oil cook down a little bit or spread out, and then I'm going to throw these on, and once I'm cooking them, I'll probably hit them with a little bit of the misto, and I'll put some and a little bit of pepper on them well for flavor. But when I have something like a sweet potato, I like to make sure that I have a good fat, which in this case would be my hamburgers, and then I also like to try to, when I'm being good, I try to get some greens in as well, so I can get the chlorophyll, and I can get some of the other different vitamins that are in there that aren't necessarily present in the sweet potato. So for me, I'm going to try to make the zucchini, the green squash, to be my main vegetable for the meal, and the sweet potatoes will kind of almost be like dessert to me, because they are pretty sweet, and they actually are really, obviously they're really tasty too. Everybody loves those things. Some of the other things that we just happen to have gotten at the farmer's market, we got Brussels sprouts, which are actually have very quickly become probably my favorite vegetable next to carrots, and we got some beans too. Now, I really enjoy string beans, but for me personally, I've never liked them cooked. I always liked to eat them raw. When I was a kid and I was working on the farm, we used to sit in the bean fields and we would pick them off the plant, kind of wipe them off a little bit, and then we would just eat them raw. And to me, that's the best tasting type of bean. So I may have a couple of beans with my meal just because I like the taste of them, and I like when they're crunchier as opposed to boiling them, or even roasting them. To me, still doesn't get the same flavor. So I may add some of those to the meal. So this is just one example of a meal that to me I really enjoy. If it was a little bit earlier in the evening, right now it's it's about 8 o'clock when I started cooking everything up. If it was earlier, I might try to fire up the grill and cook them on really low heat, and maybe add a little bit of either some cherry wood or apple wood, or I think I have mesquite as well, just for a little extra flavoring. But I really like this meal. It's really simple. I used to sort of not like doing them on the stovetop until I discovered the cast iron skillet that I got a couple years back. And then to me, the flavor, something about it is just better. Maybe I'm just being silly, but to me, it tastes really good on the stovetop, and it's a little bit easier to do right. To add to my hamburgers, I'm going to add some full fat, extra sharp cheddar, because I prefer the taste. But I also like to make sure that when I eat cheese, and I don't necessarily eat cheese all the time, I'm not opposed to it, I just don't always eat things where I can put cheese on. I try to make sure that A, it's full fat, and B, it's as close to, it's as, I guess, close to, not organic because it's not necessarily organic, but as close to natural state as possible, with as few ingredients as possible. And I also really like the extra sharp cheddar. It just, to me, I don't know, for some reason recently that's been the kick that I've been on. So we're firing up the zucchini here. As you can see, it's cooking up. And so we're going to call it a video here. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe it gave you an idea of a different way to cook. At some other point, what we can do is we can start talking about the differences between some of the oils and how you can use them to best fit your dietary needs, and also to make the best dietary decisions as well. Because there are good oils, and then there are some not so good oils as well. And I have a little bit of information on that, as I've been sort of reading up on it a lot lately. But I have noticed a difference in the flavor of my food, and I've noticed a difference in the quality of my cooked food ever since I gave up buying the cheapest oil possible. And coincidentally, along with sort of avoiding some of the grains, I've also noticed that when I've switched oils and moving to more of this kind of higher fat content, higher saturated fat content diet, I have noticed an improvement in things like my sinuses and colds, which I get significantly fewer of. I've almost eradicated them altogether. So just a few things that have helped me. Maybe something in here hopefully can, somewhere out there, can help one of you or two of you, and it would be a good 8 or 9 minutes, whatever it's been. So anyways, hope you enjoyed it. keep eating healthy, keep training smart, keep being smart, and make the best decisions you possibly can. Peace.